recording. Ms. Katrina Johnson is here from Keller ISD. She's a high school counselor, and she is here to talk to us a little bit about Texas OnCourse. She's a fellow, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name's, like she just said, is Katrina Johnson, and I'm a school counselor. And so I'm talking today based on Texas OnCourse, but just a little background on me. I have been in the college and career, just educating students about that for the last several years. Starting in college, I ran a camp for about 3 years that taught college students how to navigate college. That led me on to doing various different things. And then I was an AVID coordinator for 2 years, actually 3 years. And then I was a college and career counselor for 2 years for a local community college. And now that's led me to being just a high school counselor. So knowing all the tips and tricks to navigate this college resources is kind of one of my favorite things to talk about. And now I wanted to be able to tell you just another tool that you guys can put into your tool belt is Texas OnCourse. Okay, so let me share my screen and start talking to you a little bit about Texas OnCourse and what it has to offer. So we're going to go, have a little bit of a PowerPoint, but then we're going to actually just go into the website where you can see exactly what is, where you can find some of these resources I'm talking about and how to actually use them. So if you want to write down the website, it's just texasoncourse.org. So that's on the screen right here. And what Texas OnCourse is basically, it was founded out of the University of Texas, and as a resource, a one-stop shop for you to be able to find different aspects in your college and career process. They have features just for educators and features for students and for parents and families. So what we're going to talk about, topics we're going to talk about today is understanding your options, exploring careers, and applying to college. And then, of course, just financing college. So those are the big things that come into just looking into college. And so we're going to talk about how Texas OnCourse can, what resource Texas OnCourse has to be able to help you do each one of those topics. Okay, so when you go to Texas OnCourse, this is the website. It'll look like this when you go. And so it's a nice little fun little page, but sometimes when you come here, you're like, maybe, wow, that's a little overwhelming. I don't even know where to start. Well, you can start here. You can click over here for students and families, and then find if you're late high school, if you're a junior or senior, you get late high school, early meaning 9th or 10th grade, and then middle school. So I'm going to assume you guys in here today are late high school juniors and seniors. If you're not, let me know, and then I will tailor it to you. That's one way to get there. Also, you can also scroll down, and then it says students and families, and then it says what grade levels. And so you can also just click on there, and it'll take you to this late high school page. Okay, so when we talk about understanding our options, typically when we think about going to college, we think, I need to figure out my college, then where I'm going to go, and then I figure out what my major should be. It should really be reversed. It should be, let me think about what my major is, what I want to do, and let me find a university that ties into what I want to do. Because not all universities have the same majors and do it the exact same way. So understand your options, and honestly, understanding your option doesn't mean just college. It means what do you want to do and what is the best avenue for you to get there. Whether it be you go to community college first and get the associate's degree and get some job experience before you go to the 4-year, going straight to the 4-year, or going to learn a trade at the community college or a trade school and you start working from there. So we really have to figure out what our options are, what we want to do from the very beginning, so then we can tailor a pathway to get us closer to where we want to end up in the end. Okay, so basically we work our way backwards. Okay, so we understand what do we want to do, then we look at the careers that are in that field, and then we figure out applying for college and how we're going to finance whatever we want to do. Okay, so the first part is just kind of jobs and careers. So what we have here is just some various websites that can help you figure out what you want to do with your life. So Share Your Road is the first website, which I think is pretty amazing. Basically, you can go here, and it's still growing. Search for various members in the community and see how do they get their start. So this person is an instructional designer. They've come on here and they've talked about what their career is, what education they got, and then what hurdles they had to overcome to get it. So you can search by a title, a job, a company, or even an interest, and you can find somebody else who's already done it and then see how they were able to get there. And some have a lot of information, some have just like that. So it's a great resource for you just to be able to figure out what somebody else has done and maybe you can copy it. Texas Reality Check, definitely one of my favorites, especially if you're not sure. I know when I was in high school, I just wasn't quite sure what kind of lifestyle. Money just didn't make sense. It made sense I wanted money, but just knowing what type of career I needed in order to get the lifestyle that I wanted was a little abstract for me. I just couldn't nail that down. I just knew what I wanted to do. So there's two ways you can do this. You can just make your lifestyle where you pick, hey, what city in the state of Texas do I want to live in? So let's say we're in Fort Worth. You then would go through about what kind of things that you want in your life at that time when you're older. So say you want a 1-bedroom apartment. You know, you need internet, you need a phone, you need water and gas, cable, electricity, you know, all those things. Notice on the right-hand side over here, it tells you, it totals up all your monthly expenses as you go. Then we add in food, and you're like, well, I want to eat at home, of course, but then I also want to grab fast food every once in a while. And so as you make selections, you go through, your expenses go up for each one. So our totals go up. So that's always kind of fun just for you to kind of figure out what do you really want and how much does that really cost in where we are living right now. The next one is the occupation calculator. You can do the same thing, pick the city you're in, and then you would pick what job you want. So you can, let's pick a random one here. So a cook, say you want to be a chef. You can come here and it says a chef annual salary is $23,000 and with a maximum expense a month for $1,600. You then would do the same exact thing and it would start saying, oh, well, I only make $1,684 a month. I don't plan to save any money right now. And then you're like, I'm still going to want that 1-bedroom apartment. And as you start doing things, your monthly total starts adding in all the things that we said you wanted and how much do you have left. This way you can figure out if the job that you want can actually support the lifestyle that you want. Because that tends to happen is people like, I want to do this, but the job doesn't have the lifestyle that you want. And so you can still do it, but just tailor your expectations of what's going to happen there. And these are just averages. It doesn't mean that if you take that job, that's the little that you're going to make or as much. It's just an average of what the possibilities are. And then you can just do a quick calculator here and just add up the expenses all at one time instead of going through step by step. So that one's a really fun one for you to be able to do just to figure out if what you want to do matches with the lifestyle that you want to create. Now, Gentex is a college planning website that has just a bunch of different resources for you to click in. It's kind of like Texas OnCourse, just put in a different way. Then we have Texas Career Check. Texas is really trying to do a lot to help you guys figure out what you want to do. So we can come here, we can explore careers and occupation information. So you can search jobs right from this website and learn a lot about what's going on right now. So currently in the state of Texas, an accountant makes $80,000 a year, and there's projected to be 14,000 job openings in the future. That's important because if we're not paying attention to if there's going to be job availability in the future, then you may end up in a job where there's not enough jobs for you. Okay, so 14,000 means accountant is a pretty good job to have, and you may really have a job afterwards. Actuaries, while it's a great salary, the annual openings is not that much. So if you are going to school, you're like, that's the one I want, but there's only 121 openings, and you also go to school, there's also like 200 people in the state that are also going to be an actuary. It could lead to a competitive job field. But notice that this is 32, 91, 71. This is 10 agriculture engineers. So though that is like, hey, that's a job, but it may not be a lot of openings available once you're done and you've graduated. So keep in mind, we want to do some of these higher paying jobs, but there may not be enough openings for you once you actually get into it. Okay, so you can explore careers and then occupation trends. Okay, that's kind of what we were talking about, is just you can select a region. You can say we're in North Texas. And if you didn't know already, that you can do the same job and it's different salaries across the state and even across the country. And so you could be in Austin and make a salary that's much lower than if you came to North Texas and did the exact same job. So you can decide which part of the state that you want to live in, and then it will tell you what the salary is. So if you notice, I had North Texas here, and a nurse made $65,000. I changed to just Dallas, and it went up to $73,000, and the openings changed. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about jobs. And if you're planning to stay in Texas, you can come here and do a little research before you make your decision. You also can compare occupations. You can compare two occupations and say, I wanted this and this, to kind of weigh the upsides to each one of the things. These are not the same, acupuncturist and an accountant, but it does side by side, so that you can look at the growth, what knowledge areas you need, and then any kind of skills side by side to get an idea. Especially this is if you're trying to like go from two things, and you can say projected openings. This one's 14,000 compared to 148. So you can kind of decide which things you want to do based off of that information. This I really like because we think about going into the military, but most students don't know that once you go in the military, there's lots of different jobs that you can do. And so this site will let you see all the jobs that are in the military and then tell you which branches have that job. So that if you know that you want to be an audiologist, you know that it's only in these 4 branches and it's not in the Marine Corps. This is important knowledge to have because you are going to take something called the ASVAB to get to the military. And if you already know what you want to do, you want to maybe start off with the branch that really has the job that you're looking for. Okay, so there's also interest profilers, just like some other sites have, that you can look into. And then also you can explore education. So we can look at school information. They've already done all the research for you. You just have to come here, and it's got all the universities, 4,123 schools. Tells you where they're located, their enrollment, and how much they cost. And if you can tell, some of these schools cost a lot and some don't cost as much. This is 5,000 compared to 36,000. You can click on the school, and it's got a whole profile here for you. Admissions, tuition and other costs, academics, what their academics are, what are their levels of scores that you need to get in, the ACT scores, the high school ranking. All that information is here at this one place. Okay, so that's a great website to see. Then Your Bright Future is also another one that you can use. It's kind of just like Texas Career Check, and it's just done in a different format. And so you can pick K through 12, and then they will tailor the page for you. And this is going to use labor market information, which means they're actually talking to employers who are hiring people, and they're getting information about what they need from what students they need, what education they want those people to have, and those help you figure out what job you should be going for based off what the state actually needs. Well, we may say, oh, I really want to be an artist, which is great, but maybe the state needs more people that know how to teach art instead of being an artist. And so you can maybe tailor what you want to do based on what the labor trends are, and still being able to do what you want to do. Road Trip Nation is a site that I enjoy watching the videos. So if you have time to come over, watch the videos. I know when I was younger, I took some time and I just looked at what other people did and I tried to learn from them. So they have documentaries that students have gone on, and you can watch them. And they're based on different things. You can go based off like, hey, Old Dominion University road trip, where they've already gone to university for you. Then people who have gone like just to being determined, just showing their struggles of how they got to where they are. And so Road Trip Nation really is the road trip of what other students in the courses they have done along the way. And then just different possibilities. And so it's kind of a little bit of a reality show documentary based on different topics that are college and career related. That you also can do some career exploration within this website also. And then it tailors it to you and helps even find some videos that tailor into what you're actually interested in. The Text Internship Challenge, I just recently found this and I thought it was cool. It's temporarily not available because, COVID. But this is a place where you can find internships. You can put in your zip code and city. So we can say Keller within 25 miles and we can hit go. There probably isn't going to be something that pops up. But if you're a student and you're looking for internship, you can come to this website and see what's available. And so right now, even during the time of COVID, they have options available for you. Automation project engineering intern. Okay, so that's something that you could come here and look for, and they're looking for somebody that's willing to do an intern for them. So if you're trying to figure out what you want to do and you want to do an internship, know that internship is an unpaid job. Sometimes they're paid, but most of the time it's an unpaid job. You can come to the Texas Internship Challenge and find some internships. And I know this is a lot of information, but I'm just trying to give you some tools and kind of know how to navigate this website. Texas wages. We had Texas Genuine, which is kind of the same thing as the other ones we've been talking about. You can also search for internship on that website, but I also want to get to the one that's the Texas wages, because we always want to talk about jobs. So they do this in a little bit different way, where you can search by workforce, then by metropolitan statistical area, and then Texas employment projections. And so this one, the other one had the just the numbers, but now you can just search what are we projected to have in the future, and then what's the change. So you always want something that is in the positives. There will be some on here that are negative, and which means it's a job that is decreasing. We're no longer going to have that as much. So notice that a nuclear engineer sounds really cool, but there's not a lot of growth that's happening within that field. So you can search by all sorts of different wages. That's kind of fun. Help wanted. I've also told students that whenever you are looking for a job, yes, we do the research, but also go to a site that can tell you, oh, it's not working anymore. Well, you can do the same thing through Google. But I always tell students to go to a job search engine and look for the job that they are wanting to get, and then work toward getting that information of what that job wanted for you. So if they said that you need a person that has an engineering degree, then we go get an engineering degree. If there's some soft skills within there that we need to have, then we work to getting those soft skills. My next move is really awesome, because you can come in here and say, what do you want to do for a living? So I want to be, and then you type in whatever it is, and then you can search for it. You can also just browse by careers, and then if you're I just don't know, then you can take a quiz to kind of help you out with that one. So it says build houses, so let's see what it says if I say build houses. So then I just say I want to build houses. It comes up with 20 different careers that you can do that are just like building houses. And there's some that I don't even know, like energy auditor. So we can click on energy auditor. It tells me what knowledge I need, what skills, abilities, what type of personality works well with it, what kind of technology I would need to know how to use, what educational level, and what is the job outlook. And so it's all in one nice little page. So the other ones are kind of like text dense. This is a little bit more visual. So we have the chart here, and it tells you the median range for an energy auditor is $73,000. So that's an average. You can make as low as $39,000 all the way up to $128,000. Okay, so that's kind of a cool job. That's if you want to build houses. And so you can go through and you can type in whatever you want to do. And one that I like to talk about too is doctor. We say we want to be a doctor, but there's so many different types of doctors that you can do that's not just doctor. So most time people say doctor, they say family general practitioner or a surgeon, but there's different types of doctors that you can do. So we can do an epidemiologist, and it tells you what it is, what the job outlook is, high and low, a master's degree or a doctoral degree. So it looks like you can do this and even just have a master's degree. but you can click on everything and then kind of just learn more about that job title. Do we have any questions? I know I talk really fast.
If you have questions for Ms. Johnson, you're welcome to type them in the chat as well.
If not, I can keep talking. Okay. So the next one we'll talk about, I guess, is college planning, because that's what we're all interested in. So Road Trip Nation has a bunch of just talking about getting involved in high school, because that's what we want on our college application. Finding your support system. One thing when we think about going to college is we just think about doing the application and that's it. We also need to think about who are your people that you can talk to about going through, because it is kind of stressful figuring out like what you're going to do, job and paying for it. Who do I go to for financial aid advice? Who do I go for application advice? How do you even make a decision on choosing where I want to go? So Road Trip Nation has some very good just videos about how to do that. And they're listed all here on the Texas OnCourse late high school page. Also, just a Road Trip Nation over summer before college. What should I expect? There's some things that you have to do the summer before college that you wouldn't realize you have to do. Mainly stocking up on supplies that you now need to have before you go off to college. Making sure your dorm, you put down your deposits for your dorm. You sent in your transcripts for your final transcripts, gotten your meningitis shot. There's just like a whole list. You think I'm in, and then there's all these little things that pop up that we just didn't think about. And then college study habits for college-bound students, leaving home. So those are all just videos to watch to kind of give you some feedback, especially if you're a first-generation kiddo and you have never had anybody go through it before. It's just a good, just another person to be able to tell you what it looks like. So the CB, student loans, is basically from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and that's loans and scholarship programs. So you can apply for a loan through here, and they also have scholarships and give you information about the forgiveness programs that are within the state. Okay, so this isn't like some sketchy loan, because I typically am like, I don't know what that is. Can I even use it? But this is through the state of Texas, and it tells you about like loan repayment. This is really good if you're planning to go to college and use a student loan. I know some people are like really scared about using loans, but they're there as a tool and an asset to get you to a place where maybe you can't afford it. Just don't take out more than you like are going to end up paying in the end. Okay, we have adventures in education. Okay, so Adventures in Education actually has where you you can even start here with the FAFSA and actually plan like your whole process of going through college. So this page helps with quick tips about the FAFSA, what you need to do before you start the FAFSA, how to complete it, how to sign and submit it, next step, and then how to get help with your FAFSA. And then down here about verification and types of financial aid. So that plans out that whole big piece of the FAFSA. And then you can go over here and learn about life after college, managing your money, succeeding through college. So just different tools and tips and tricks on what you need to do to plan out from college costs, college loans, financial aids, and how to apply. What time is this over? Just so I make sure I'm not. I think you're muted.
Sorry. You've got about 10 more minutes.
10?
Yes. Okay.
So let me go through some more real quick, and then I will see if there's any questions. So federal student aid, that is studentaid.gov. That's the FAFSA. If you're not sure what the FAFSA is, that's the federal application for free student aid. And that is what everybody does to get their financial aid for college. Lots of students will come here and say, or get their financial aid package and say, hey, my FAFSA didn't give me any money. FAFSA doesn't give money. FAFSA just gives you something called an EFC, an estimated family contribution number. And that number is what the universities use to figure out how much aid you are going to get. So if you fill out your FAFSA, which is this application, then and it comes back, the FAFSA submits back to you and it says your EFC is $1,000. That means that your family can only submit $1,000 towards your college application. That number is then submitted to the university, and the university says, okay, well, this school is $10,000 a year. This kid can only pay $1,000. So we need to fill in the gaps. So they will give you a financial aid package of $9,000 to make up so that you can afford to go to school in the form of grants, scholarships, and loans. Okay, so this piece of the FAFSA is very, very important. And so if you are struggling with it, always contact counselors or even the university that you're planning to attend, or just contact FAFSA. They're really not that hard to get a contact with. They even have a chat box while you're filling it out that you can ask questions to. This is their whole job, and they can actually help out a lot with it. College for all Texans. So if you're a student that is not a United States citizen at this point, you can come to here. And even if you're a citizen, you can come here and find some more information that is College for All Texans. This website is to make sure every kid knows they can come to college. On this website, though, is the TASFA. And so the TASFA is, I got to find it. The TASFA is a financial aid for students that are not citizens. It comes in English and it comes in Spanish. I honestly think the TASFA is easier than the FAFSA. And so what you would do, you would print it, you would fill it out and print it and then submit it to university. Some students are very fearful that the school is going to come after them, know that they're not a citizen. That's not the case. This information goes straight to the school just to give you financial aid for school. Okay, so you fill out the TASFA, submit it to university. College Scorecard. A one-stop shop for finding a university information. So if I type in, I want North Texas. Okay, University of North Texas. It is going to come up with all the information about University of North Texas. It's going to talk about their graduation rate. It's going to talk about the average salary for students after high school. So this tells me that 61 of the students who go to UNT graduate. Their average salary after completing is like from $20,000 to $70,000. And the average annual cost to go to school there, including with everything, is $13,000, including tuition, living costs, books and fees, everything. So you can go through there and figure out what's their retention rate. That means how many students come back after their first year. So they're at 78%. How many people transferred in? You get all of the information. How much debt do people end up leaving afterwards? And so the loan, like if you get loans, it also tells you what's the average loan payment that you will get afterwards. And then how many students are actually on taking any kind of aid. So those are just some of the fun ones that are on Texas OnCourse. It's all in one place, so you don't ever have to like think, I need to remember all of these websites. They're all here for you to be able to go to, and with a lot more that I didn't even get to. But I want to leave some opportunities for questions if we have any questions.
Once again, if you have questions, you can also type them in the chat box. Just to let you know, there is an end of session survey in there. If you would please fill that out before you leave the session today. Any questions? What questions do you have for Ms. Johnson?
It could be about anything. You can even, type it. No? I explained it so well that you guys don't need any more information from me, correct? Is that what I'm hearing? Be quiet if that's true. Awesome. Well, let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Johnson. This is a great session with lots and lots of resources. We have this recorded so that we can show this to students who were not able to join us yet.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. It is a lot. I know. But if you ever have questions, I'm always willing to help out.
Do you have contact information that you'd like to share?
Yeah, you can give my Keller. So it's Katrina, K-A-T, rina.johnson@kellerisd.net. Do you want me to put it in the chat or?
I was typing it out for you. Katrina.johnson@kellerisd.net.
Yep, that's my work email address.
There we go. Okay. Please remember to fill out the end of session survey. It is in the chat box before you leave. I'm going to leave this open just another 3 or 4 minutes so they can get that link and fill out the survey. But Ms. Johnson, if you need to take a break before your next session, you're welcome to go.
Perfect. What time's the next session start?
10:30.
Okay, cool. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for staying and listening. Hope I didn't bore you too much.
No, this was fantastic. I'm going to go back and look at them in depth.
Yeah, it's so much information that's out there that we just don't realize the things that we're looking for, there's something already out there for us, which just we got to be able to find it. And so it's just a matter of connecting those resources to people who need it.
Right. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the fun part for me. I just like, what do you want to do? I can help you figure it out. I like that piece.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to mute and put up our screen and I'll see you back here at 10:30. Thank you.